Today we're here to speak about my dear cousin, Alea Shalom, Dr. Rabbanit Avigail Poupko Rock. Tammuz is her yahrzeit. I think it's 6 years today. Although I didn't know her well, our fathers are brothers, but the more I heard about her and the more I listened to her shiurim and the more I learned with her brother Avraham, the more I realized what a giant she was and how lucky I was to be her cousin and to even be connected by our DNA. I decided to create something in her memory, to speak to people that knew her well, to share some of her greatness through stories, to tap into her wisdom, her spirituality, her ahavat Torah, her ahavat Eretz Yisrael, her ahavat Am Yisrael, her desire to spread limud Torah, her enthusiasm of living life, her core values of her family first, her tremendous love to her husband, Yehuda, and the incredible family they built together, their children, the legacy she left, those amazing, amazing children. So I reached out to some of the people that knew her well. So many of them shared almost the same exact stories about their relationship with her. What was so remarkable is that almost all of them shared the same core values. No one spoke to each other. No one knew that we're doing this. I reached out to individuals and it was as if they got a script about Avigail to read, but it was all their personal relationship with Avigail and how they saw Avigail through their lens. And it just is remarkable to see somebody and hear that somebody lived with such mindfulness of their life, core values, and living alive through life as a Jew. Be'eretz Yisrael, it was a privilege to interview all these people and speak to them. Although I didn't have the privilege of really knowing Avigail intimately while she was alive, I feel like I'm going to live through these stories and incorporate some of the messages and take them to heart. And I'm grateful for this opportunity. I hope you gained from these conversations as much as I did. I'll share with you a few of the people that I spoke to. Dr. Yael Ziegler, Rena Sheets, Debbie Berman, Penny Perlman from Boca, a dear friend of mine now that I got to meet through Avigail. Avram, her older brother, which he says is that Avigail was his chavuta. Dr. Rachel Levmore. Dr. Rachel Levmore studied with Avigail to become Toanot Rabbaniyot together. They were chavutot. The amazing Rabbanit Shani Tarragon. That was incredible. And her student, her Talmidah, her friend, her Yedidat Nefesh, Leah Sirota. She accomplished so much in so little amount of time on this earth. May we take from her wisdom and incorporate it in our life. May her neshama have an aliyah.
Every time I teach about the crowns being commitments to Torah, I think of Abigail. And wasn't just Rachel, Gishto Shel Rabbi Akiva, but if there's someone who deserved that crown of Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, that love of Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, then it was Abigail. And I'll just take it one step further, and this is beautiful because this I learned from a mutual teacher of ours, from Rabbanit Malkabina. So we both adore and respect and learned from the Gemara and Shabbos teaches that there are 3 opinions whether or not one is allowed to walk out with Yerushalayim Shel Zahav on Shabbos. The first opinion is that you're not allowed to walk around. Rabbi Meir says, nope, can't walk around with it on Shabbos. And the Gemara explains, because it's a very heavy piece of jewelry, and someone may take it off, and then you're going to be chayav carrying on Shabbos. And then the Chachamim say that you're not chayav, but you really shouldn't l'chatchila, because you may take it off, not because it's heavy, but because you want to show it off to people. And the third opinion, Rabbi Eliezer, again, it seems that this is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva as well, that Rabbi Eliezer says, no, you can go out with it on Shabbos, even l'chatchila, because only an isha chashuva would walk around with the Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, and she would never take it off. And Rabbanit Bina beautifully explained, she says, there are some people who walk around with either a love for Yerushalayim or a love for Torah, but really they see it as a burden. Such people who see it as a burden, they're going to easily take it off. First opportunity, they have to take it off. People who just learn Torah because it's something to show off to people, then sometimes they'll do it when they get credit, sometimes they won't. But only an Isha Chashuva, only someone who understands that this is literally the most beautiful crown of honor, crown of commitment. Such a woman will never, ever take off the Yerushalayim shall have. And then she can go out with it on Shabbos. So yes, I think about that when I think of Abigail. That's her Yerushalayim shall have. The commitment to Torah, the love of Torah, the beauty and the grandeur of Torah, and the ability to be able to see not just the present, but what needs to be done in the present for the sake of the future.
And it's one of the things that Abigail taught her kids, and we should probably teach all our kids, teach everybody, teach ourselves. You don't achieve emet by being a yes man and by agreeing with whatever else you're told. You don't achieve emet by being contrarian and by disagreeing with whatever you're told. You're just a stubborn teenager if you do. You achieve truth by listening, thinking it over, and thinking what you agree with and what you don't agree with, and being willing to change your mind when it's appropriate, and being willing to stick to your opinion when it's the right thing to do. And that's how you achieve emet. So that's a few thoughts about Abigail, and about Chavuta, and about learning together, and about Parashat Kol.
When she came here to speak, and she stayed with me all the time, before she would daven in the morning, or any time before she would daven, she stood. She had her sitter in her arms, and she would walk a little bit, walk this way, walk this way. She never spoke to God until she was ready. And I try to do that every single day. That's hard because everybody's looking at the watch. I try every day to say, okay, you have to stop. You have to think before you speak to the king. You can't just, thank you for this, thank you for that, gotta go. I need this, I need that. Shmona Esrei, finished. No, that's not how she did. Even if we were going to be late, it was fine. And everybody waited for her because I know this was the way she did it. And I think about that quite a bit. I'm not there yet as good as she was, of course. But even someone of that level who could daven without a sitter, I'm sure, would never think to, and centered herself mentally before she spoke to God. That's one of the most touching things. And that was a lesson for free because she was right here in my house. That wasn't like a class.
Abigail was a scholar. Abigail was a brilliant teacher. Abigail was a Tanach Rabbanit. She was a champion of women's rights early on when no one else was. Abigail was a community leader, but none of those things were her greatest legacy or her greatest passion. And the greatest achievement that Avigail Poupko Rock had in this world are 5 people that are walking around right now, and that is her children. And if I'm going to, I know it's what I'm going to, because they were everything to her.
There were 3 speakers at this event, in Hebrew, obviously. 3 speakers. Rav Meir Lichtenstein was the first, Avigail was the second, and I was the third.
Wow.
Avigail gave the most amazing, brilliant lecture that I have ever heard, and I had already been doing this for about 19 or 20 years. I had been lecturing about this for 19 or 20 years, and she gave such a powerful lecture.
Wow.
Basing it on the development of the halakha of takanot kahal, and it was just simply brilliant, with the punchline being that the entire society has to take upon itself a takanat kahal, that every couple has to sign this, and she taught it from within halakha.
Beautiful.
It was fantastic. It was extraordinary. And she gave that lecture because she strongly believed in what I was doing. She strongly believed in it.
She was, this quality of how humble she was. She laughed at herself and she didn't take herself too seriously. And it was an incredible thing to see in a Talmidah Chachama that people were in awe from her, but she didn't take herself so seriously. She laughed at herself, and that humor that she had throughout and always was one of her most special, amazing qualities. And I don't know that it's always something that goes hand in hand with someone who I consider, on the one hand, Talmidah Chachama that I admire, but always Begova Einayim. She would speak to people, understood in sense, because she really felt that she was really humble. And I can say that I saw that, and something very personal, when I was in the hospital with her when she was so sick, and the hakarat atov that she showed to every person that we encountered. Wow. I was in awe of her. It was obviously a different side that I had never seen, and I think about it often. And it was a zchut to see the way that she treated each and every person she encountered. For several minutes, she would go on to tell each person what a chesed they do for her on a continuous basis, and thankful for everything that they do to try to make her feel comfortable.
I think she was giving messages to her children and to her husband and to the people that she felt achrayut. She felt a responsibility toward them in a very personal way. But her students, who I think she felt a lot of Torah responsibility to, those messages were Torah messages. They didn't center on her. If she had a message to give, it would be continue learning, be good, be serious, be purposeful, and be filled with emunah and with ahavat Torah and ahavat Hashem.
So before I went back to America, she had bought me a pair of Meshach Chachma al HaTorah. And she bribed it very, very beautifully. And of course, first in Hebrew. אמרו חכמים שכל היגע בתורתו בבית המדרש לא במהרה הוא משכח, וכל היגע בתלמודו בצנעה מחכים, שנאמר ועת צנועים חוכמה. From הלכות תלמוד תורה of the Rambam, פרק ג' הלכה י"ב. ברוך שזכינו ללמוד איתך במשך שנה זו וללמוד ממך. מהי כוונת זו המובאת אל ברמב"ם? יהי רצון שנזכה במהרה בימינו ללמוד ביחד שוב. חדש ימינו כקדם. באהבה רבה וגעגועים חברתך והחברותא שלך אביגיל. And in English she wrote to my yeshiva bacher. Hope to see you come back to our yeshiva. We'll give you a shiur to teach, for you're a true inspiration to all the Talmidim. You're a Talmid with Simchat Chaim and full of thrill when learning Torah. Keep that chassid part in you while in galut. Tish once in a while could never hurt, or just a little tance on a regular Thursday night. But don't forget, you must have shrayim. You have the Rebbe's bracha b'chol asher telchi. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya b'Ava Rabba Avigail. Yael and I still haven't decided who will be the Rav and who will be the Rebbe. Ma nira lach?
Avraham, Yitzchak,